Hi, this is Fred Meyer for Writers.com. I'm here actually in my hometown, New Orleans, with Sarah Aronson, one of our instructors. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Good to physically be in this Weston lobby with you.
I know. This is great. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah. So, Sarah, what brings you to town?
So I was here to speak at the ILA convention, the International Literacy Association, and meet with teachers and educators from around the country, talk to them about literacy for our children, and also a little bit about writing.
Yeah. So you gave a talk, and I'd love to just hear what that was about. I know, I mean, the big headline for me is what you call the three I's.
Yes. So I was talking about my latest book, Just Like Rube Goldberg. And I wrote that story when I had given myself a challenge of writing whatever I felt like, literally to eat dessert first, or perhaps to live like David Bowie and just indulge in the creative spirit. And what I found was that my creativity is really amplified by the three I's. I knew one of the I's was intellect, using your brain, but that's only part of it and really not as important as the other two. Creativity for me starts with inspiration, which takes time and community and patience. You have to look for it and find inspiration. You can't just wait for it by looking at your phone. Then intuition, to take that inspiration and really play with it and intuit it. How that didn't come out right, and play with it and work with it until it is working in your story. And then, of course, intellect comes back again, where you use your brain to essentially create logic and make sure that your story is working correctly.
So how do you think, if I were to approach writing with a kind of three I's approach, how is that different from what my default might be, or what the default that people are being taught might be out there?
Well, I think that when I was in school, that intellect was very high on the list, that we were going to think about plot, and we were going to think about character, and we were going to think about the good words that we use. We were thinking about product is what we were doing. So I want to validate the process. And once you have words on the page, that is not a time to cut off inspiration or intuition. That is a time to invite inspiration and intuition back into your process and continue to explore and what I call reimagine your story rather than revisioning.
So can you say a bit about how I could put that into practice?
So things like I use a method called the Pomodoro method, where I work for 25 minutes and then I take 10 minutes off where I don't do anything. And during that 10 minutes, usually that's when inspiration will come, because for 25 minutes, I've been writing as fast as I can. I really try to write without expectations, because so that I can find glimmers in my writing. If my conscious is really overtaking my subconscious, then I'm worried about the individual words. If my subconscious, my intuition and inspiration are working, then who knows what's going to happen? Then I can take what makes it to the page and continue to work to make sense of that and use my intellect. So it's really a revolving, never-ending cycle of inviting new ideas and new ways of thinking about your story to the page.
So it sounds like, just based on what you said about the Pomodoro method, there's almost more space in it? Is that true?
I think that a really essential part of writing is listening and waiting and not being busy. I think as a kid, my best ideas came when I was bored stiff. So, because you were bored stiff, and it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got to do something really great. So that's the same with writing, is that if you're really busy and you're just focusing on making that one sentence the best sentence it could be, or even worse, if you have a favorite sentence and you're trying to hold on to it and keep it, you're only going to look at the story from one side. That quietness and stillness, what we see in yoga, where you have to get comfortable with stillness, that's really important to my particular process of writing. When I'm still and I'm listening, things come to me. When I'm not listening, obviously, inspiration can go right by.
Mm-hmm. And like you don't notice it? Is that
Yeah,
what you mean?
yeah, go find somebody else who's paying attention.
Got it. So is this the topic of your book, just like Rube Goldberg?
So Just Like Rube Goldberg is a picture book biography of Rube Goldberg.
Oh, really?
Yeah, do you know that people think he was an inventor, but he invented absolutely nothing?
Right, he invented those things where it's like you shine a light on a plant and it like cooks waffles.
Right,
and,
but
yeah.
he only drew them.
Okay,
He
right.
didn't actually make anything.
Right, okay.
So most people think he was this wacky inventor. He drew a wacky inventor named Professor Lucifer Gorgonzola Butts. So so this book allows me essentially to say to kids and to grown-ups who read the book as well, that talent is optional and that determination is mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you have an idea, work as hard as you can and have a really good time getting there. He had a really good time. And I now, since this challenge that I did, I have a much better time writing. And I think when we have a better time, we feel more confident. And when we're more confident, we're better writers. We're better at saying what we want to say when we feel confident and we know that we really do have something to say when it matters to us. So that's not how it all works for me. When I'm worried about whether it's going to sell or if it's going to sound smart enough for my, the smart people I know, that's when writing pulls me down.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm eating dessert first, I'm super happy.
Okay.
That's why I'm going to go get a beignet.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, gotta get one more time.
So is there anything else you'd like to say while we're
just that everybody has a story and that there's room for everyone and we all want to read your stories. So, send them to us. Come and work with us.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
You're welcome.